Connor from Jaws. If we can all give him a warm welcome, please.
Hi.
Hopefully this masterclass gives you all a bit of an insight, no matter what you're studying, into life as a band, whether it's touring or whether you're thinking about going into a studio, whether you're thinking about sort of managing bands, events management, anything like that. We'll cover pretty much everything that goes with the territory of being in a band, so hopefully this does help. Sticking with the early days, is there anything that you know now that you wish you knew then?
I think a key aspect is that you've got to realise that there's so many people out there on their own doing their own thing that networking is so important now. You can't afford to just go and get smashed and be an idiot in front of someone, because you don't know who that person might be and who that person might know, and then who... I'm not saying don't have fun. I'm just saying you could be the greatest band in the world, and if you don't know the right people, and especially I think starting out, if you make mistakes early on in front of the wrong people, you can really damage future prospects.
Are there any sort of reasons or motives behind why you think it all took off? Not just the B-Town Birmingham sort of scene, but you and like Jaws in particular?
I just think we've always been really easygoing and not really taking ourselves too seriously. I think a lot of bands these days think way too much about how their Instagram looks and how the Twitter looks, it can be good, especially we just went on tour with a new band called Masterclass, and like every day one of them wears a yellow shirt and one of them wears a blue shirt, and it does sound a bit cheesy, but like on stage it looks great and on their Instagram it looks great, but sometimes you sort of appreciate that you can get to a position without having to do anything like that. You don't need to have a little gimmick, you can just be easygoing and make all right music, and it can still happen.
For people who are looking to get into, whether it's sort of studio management or recording or anything like that, what are the key things that you would bring from the first sessions where you recorded that album? Because I imagine you will have gone in with like 30, 40 songs and gone, how do you trim them down?
Do you know what, with the first album we went in with about 11 songs.
Really?
Yeah, that's the sort of thing. So on the second album, that's the sort of thing we changed, and then we went in with a lot of songs, but because like it all happened so fast, we did probably have about 20 songs, to be honest, but we only went into the studio with the ones that we felt were strong enough. And do have some regrets with it, with recording certain songs and not recording other ones, but at the time you just go with what you think's best. You can't think about, I think a lot of bands, that's another thing, is you can't ever perfect an album or a recording, really. You have to just, I think as long as it has sort of a feeling to it, and that's what you're trying to get out of the song, then that's the main thing. If it doesn't feel good live, we just won't even bother recording it, because we know we're not going to want to play it live. And that's one of the things of our live show as well, is that we want to look like we're enjoying it, because we're the ones that have to go on stage and do it. And I think especially when you're on tours that are really long, there is some nights where you're like, I don't want to do this. So you have to make sure that you're enjoying it. With the first album as well, it was more about, we knew the songs were like alright, they were good enough, and it was just about getting it recorded, getting it out there, putting your mark on the map then. And then, but from that inexperience of rushing it and doing things a different way, you learn from it. There's no way to do it, really, it's all a learning curve.
So from that experience of working with a label, albeit a fairly small one, is there anything that you could sort of maybe advise people who are looking to release an album?
I've never been in the position where we've worked with a major label, so we've always been in complete control of everything that we've done. But my advice would probably be just make sure you're happy with the songs that you're writing before. Don't ever make music like for someone else. But if you're making music and you sort of get a feeling from it, then that's the connection. Then that's if that connects with you, that's going to connect with other people, rather than you going, I want to make a song that sounds like Nirvana. Because then people are going to go, that sounds like Nirvana. They're not going to go, oh, that song makes me feel this way. That's what the connection is, I think. Do you know what as well? Like, it's good to it's good to watch other bands as well, just in general, especially if you want to be in a band and get that experience of, or if you are in a band, it's just good to watch live music.
Well, you can learn so much from others.
Yeah, exactly. You learn so much touring. In that 4 days with Swim Deep, I learned. I'd never been on a tour before, and then by the end of it, felt like a seasoned professional after 4 days. You find as well, like in the period that you're touring, a couple of weeks before and a couple of weeks after, your streaming goes through the roof, and you end up, obviously, I think you get paid every quarter for that, but you'll find like the next quarter is always like a bit more.
What do you make of specific music colleges? Do you think they will be now spawning the next generation of bands? And
They're definitely a help for a lot of people. Not a lot of people have the opportunity to, like, for example, you can come here and there's recording studios, and not everyone can afford to have like a Mac at home and buy recording software or even have a guitar or whatever. You get opportunities in places like this.
what would you say is what are your aims now, considering what you've done? What do you want to do?
I want to take the live show a bit bigger. I want to play bigger venues. We're not really. We're going to write the next album. That's kind of what I'm concentrating on at the minute. Just writing, seeing where I can get with that. It's going all right, but what I really want to do is comfortably play bigger venues.
Thanks for your time, Connor.
It's all right.
Give Connor another round of applause.